All right, so this is Miss Qarba, and I am live today from the city of lights, Karachi, Pakistan. I hope you all are doing well, and I am fine too. Alhamdulillah. So I am expecting that I am having the stakeholders of the field of education, and I hope you all must be already applying a lot of techniques in your classes. But as committed, we'll be having a look to more details. We'll be having a look to the other tips and techniques that can be more effective while teaching. So, the title of our today's session is Why Students Procrastinate, and it is one of the most common problem that is being faced by not only learners but by teachers, but also by the common man. So, we'll be talking about this particular topic today. And before further delaying, let's move forward towards my introduction. First of all, I am working as a student counselor and faculty trainer at eResource Center, and I have been associated to this field since long. By profession, I am a linguist, but by passion, you can say I'm into this field that is counseling and training. So I would like to know about you people as well, your name, the origin you people are from, the organizations you are currently working, and the designation you people are working at. So I would like to know about these details. Please drop your introduction in the chat box. Yes, so I am awaited for your introduction. Please introduce yourself in the chat box. We have Miss Hera. She is a school Chinese language teacher. That's really good to know about you, Miss Hera. Then we have Miss Midhat Akhtar. Okay. We have, all right, Miss Midhat Akhtar is an English teacher at the city school. That's nice. We also have Miss Munazza Sheikh, Miss Arifa Afzal, and Mr. Ahmed Abrar Mola Qureshi. All right. So in the meanwhile, the others are typing in. Let's get started towards our session. So, as you already know that student procrastination is basically a widespread and a serious problem which actually affects students at all levels. So it is not only an issue for the youngsters or the elders, but basically it's a common issue for all. It's also a very complicated problem since different students procrastinate for different reasons and they can therefore benefit from different solutions when it comes to overcoming their procrastination. So, in today's session, you all will be getting a brief, comprehensive, and practical guide to solve this problem of a student procrastination. The goal of today's session is actually to help you all understand why does it happen and then what students can do in order to stop procrastinating and start studying. So this will be surely beneficial whether you are a student yourself or someone such as like parent or a teacher who actually wants to help students overcome their procrastinations. So in today's session, we'll be talking about what is procrastination. We'll be discussing the reasons driving procrastination. We'll be talking about how to design course for dealing procrastination, and we'll be having a brief look to the tips that can be used to overcome or to deal with procrastination. It will be for the course instructors as well as for the online learners. So first of all, I would like to know how you people would describe procrastination. Your answers can be shared in the chat box and you can let me know what do you think about what is procrastination. All right, I'm getting a very few examples. Okay, something that is negative. Mm-hmm. Right, a sort of feel. Okay, yes. Basically, it is actually a way of dealing with challenging emotions and some sort of dispositions induced by certain tasks. So these feelings often occur when we are faced with a task that we actually view as something boring, frustrating, something disorganized, or something that is meaningless to us. So, which in turn leads to uh, an unpleasant feeling, or you can say a very negative mood, as mentioned by you people. So basically, there are some moods that are driving this feeling of procrastination, and we'll be having a look to those moods as well. So, what are the negative moods that actually drive procrastination? So, there are basically around six types of moods that are driving procrastination, and we'll be having a brief look to all of them because procrastination is a class killer, and because we always have procrastinators in our online class, so it is actually something worth exploring some of the most dominant negative moods. So moving towards this, the first one is anxiety. So, this is actually that learners can be confused and they can be unsure of any task. So, they may lack that confidence that is basically required to attempt to complete or to do any specific academic task, or they actually do not know from where to take the start. Sometimes it happens that when we are writing anything, you may have faced such students in your class that you have asked them to write an essay or asked them to write an answer, but they reply with, "We don't know how to start it from the scratch." So that is actually the point that there is this feel of procrastination in you and you're not able to take the start. So this is a sort of anxiety, and it is a very common feeling not only with the students but also with teachers, also with the other common people as well. The second is precision. Precision is basically that you have some very much unrealistic realistic high expectations or standards. So it is basically the feeling overwhelmed by the amount of energy it will take to excel. So what you actually think that this task can be done in a particular way, and if you are not able to do it in that particular way, then doing that task will be useless. And this is why you start procrastinating. Now, the third thing is simply annoyance, and we all face it usually that you are this is not something that is this is something obvious that you get annoyed by any given task, so you just start delaying doing the task. The fourth one is low self-esteem, with which a great number of people in our society face. This is what that learners may minimize their skill set because they think that they won't be able to do that job in an excellent manner. So they start keep putting off the task. They actually start to believe that they really can't do. And here, being a good teacher, this is your responsibility to make them feel that they are able to do this task. You may have seen a lot of students in your class when you ask them to read aloud, they just simply feel like they cannot read even though they are good readers. We have also seen such people who are able to speak good English, but when they are asked to be in front of the class, they fail. So this is was they basically have a sort of low self-esteem, and you may have faced this thing in the work life as well, that some of the people try to be aside from a lot of things because they feel like that they do not have the skill set, though they have it, but as they are not trying, they feel like that they cannot really do it. Moving towards our fifth mood, that is the frustration. And as learners are overwhelmed by the circumstances, so of course they find something that is unfair, that is not tolerable to them, and they can actually not get out of those past negative emotions. So something that is you are recalling from your past continuously, and due to that you are feeling like frustrated and you are not feeling like moving ahead. The last mood that is very important, and of course a lot of students face this in the class, just because of course we usually have group classes in Pakistan and other countries. It's that learners may feel so bad about not doing it because they feel like that they won't be able to do, and they'll be ending up marinating in this guilt instead of getting to work. So this is actually something, an add-on to the guilt or the shame they actually have for themselves, and this is why they decide not to do the task. So since procrastination is a predictor of failing to complete an online class, then we must address some of the ways how we can create our classes, or how we can prepare our teachers to teach these classes. It is somehow critical that we make learners aware of how to overcome procrastination. So we'll be looking into the overcoming techniques and tips from two point of view. The first point of view is that you will be looking it from a course designer's point of view. So for suppose if you are working at any school at a designation where you are actually allowed to design something, you can use it there. Or if you are not working as at that position, then you can do it as a teacher as well. So let's move ahead. And I would like to know, have you ever observed your students facing procrastination? And if yes, how did you deal with it? This is what I would like to know from you all. My chat box is open, and I would like to know if you have ever faced, if you have ever observed your own students facing procrastination during online class or even physical class. So if yes, how did you dealt it? Yes, the chat box is open. I can give you 2 minutes to think about it. Okay, so I have a reply that she faced her students procrastinating in the class, and she asked them to roam around the class. Okay, that's a tip. That's nice. Okay, there is one hand raised. May I know, please, Miss Nafisa? You can type in the chat box. All right. So this was all from your side. Now let me talk about designing the course for dealing procrastination. So this is what the first point of view, this is what the first aspect is. Let's have a look to it. So the first thing here is that to develop a module on procrastination. The very first step to make students realize is to let them know that there is a such field that actually exists. So when they actually know that there is something that exists, they can surely look into how to deal with it. As I have recently begun to build some of the information into my online classes and making learners aware of what basically procrastination is, and explaining them why they actually procrastinate. So In that module, you will be talking and you will be discussing some of the mindfulness, some of the other time orientation activities. So that will be helping them out in order to avoid that negative feeling that is associated with the coursework, that is associated with the task that you are giving to them. So you can let the students know that there is a feeling called procrastination and there are negative moods behind it, and you need to overcome all these moods in order to avoid this procrastination. And you can even tell this thing to yourself as a teacher if you are feeling like that you are procrastinating. Okay, so the second is including shorter timelines. So as class designers, we can set shorter timelines. We know that online classes are, of course, too open to invite procrastination because of the ambition of assignments and the lack of organizing drivers. This is why you usually feel the students procrastinating. So you can go towards setting up short timelines and then break the bigger projects into subtasks. And you can actually provide the learner with more structured way. So let's say you all know this example of a thesis, that is the time that is being given to complete the thesis of the year usually. But preparing for the thesis, you start even 6 months before that year, right? So the bigger task is actually divided into a subtask or a smaller task. So that is why you are able to do it. However, as online teachers, we have to always keep the deadlines with us. So make sure even there are shorter timelines, but there is a deadline set, because the deadline is basically an alarm for the student to do the task on time. So if learners see there is no consequence for turning in a late assignment, many will of course continue to procrastinate. So always say this thing in yourself that if they are going to submit the assignment late, there will be late marking. Now let's move towards the third tip, that is to develop projects. So we basically tend to procrastinate when we face with the task that we basically think they are boring and there is no such relevance. So let's suppose if I am asking my students to write the sentences for present simple, of course they won't be enjoying it at all. I'll be asking them that okay, the structure is subject plus verb plus object, of course they will feel like boring. But if I ask them what you are doing right now, if I ask them what do you do on daily basis, this is going to be something relevant to them. So basically, in order to attempt any task, they need to have some sort of knowledge of it. So make sure whatever task you are giving to them, they must be having any background knowledge, and that background knowledge will act as a content in their mind, and they will be able to do it. So there should be some real world projects introduced to the class, and of course, that will tap the learners and the professionals. So for this, of course, we know that we need to sacrifice a few reading activity, our online class time, one of the online quiz, or any animation in order to get towards that interesting and different project. So I hope that you people would be surely applying this in your class, and you will be really helping your students out to deal with procrastination. Moving towards the fourth one, that is develop more and more group activities. Sometimes it happens that when you are in the class, you feel like sleeping and you feel like boring. So when you are actually giving chance students to act as a different group member, to act as in a pair, their roles actually change. And with that change, actually they feel something change in their personality as well. You can go towards making a group where there can be a leader, and then the leader can be switched on a weekly basis. So this is how every student will be getting a chance to be the leader, and you can have some other roles in the group as well. And this is how the students can stay connected with the other students, and they would know that okay, they can overcome of procrastinating. So now I would like to know how you can apply any of the designing technique in your teaching. So I have introduced 4 techniques to you: develop a module, include shorter timelines, develop projects, and develop more group activities. So, can I have any of the example to know how you can use this step or technique in your class? It can be physical or it can be online. So the chat box is again open, and you can tell me if you can introduce this in your class. Okay, so I have a very good example, and it's that the chapter was actually taught with a brainstorming. That's right, okay. And then the students were paired to, oh, I don't know what is it? Okay, then the students were paired to discuss it in the class. So this is nice. This is how you can involve the students in the class, and you can ask them to discuss the chapter in pairs. That's a good answer. Well done. Let's move forward towards the tips for the course instructors. So now if you people are working as course instructors, what you can do is that, first of all, give praise. And of course, you know that in online classes, the students are usually demotivated. So this sort of encouragement can be an incentive for the learners to complete the online activities on time, and to build some sort of self confidence and self efficacy. You know that, as I have already discussed this in the negative mode, that this feeling of low self esteem is actually one of the things that is driving procrastination. So the praise can actually help them out to get out of this field. The second is encouragement. Of course, you know that students are not usually that much encouraged in our classes. In abroad, there is a trend of encouraging students, but in Pakistan, the trend is quite different. And students are usually demotivated, not only at school, but at homes as well. So they need motivation, they need some encouragement. The third one is you can hold a weekly online meeting hour, as the students are not comfortable discussing themselves in the class. So they can maybe tell you during a phone call, during a video call, during a chat, that what is the problem they are facing. And if you are able to find out, if you are able to help them out in their problem, then of course they will start taking interest in the coursework. The last one is that is given on the struggling learners. So it is very much essential to stop procrastination before online learners dig into a such deep hole from there where they can never ever escape. So make sure you're not letting the learner going into that deep hole, and you are holding in the student, and then you are helping that student to move towards doing something. Okay, let's moving ahead towards the last part of our today's session, and it's that for the online learners. So it is basically, the title is the tips for online learners to overcome procrastination, but it is actually for the teachers as well, and it is for a common person as well. So being a teacher, if you have ever felt like you are procrastinating and you do not feel like teaching, go towards the tips, and I'm sure you would be able to do. So the first tip is that to understand when you are procrastinating and what is actually making you procrastinate. So for this, you need to recognize what are the things that you are actually delaying and what are the reasons behind that delay. So you need to discover why you are procrastinating so you can address the feel. Maybe you are not comfortable with the environment. Maybe the students are not taking interest. That is why you are feeling like procrastination. So this is what you need to identify. Now, the second is you need to make use of positive self talk. So, of course, you are actually the one who can tell yourself that this isn't so hard and it won't take long, and you must feel like that, okay, I can easily do it. I'm sure I'll be doing it, no problem. So procrastination is often a fear of doing a poor job. So when you will be telling yourself that what you do is excellent, this will of course make the task look small and easier. The third is do not only think and go towards a start. The person who is only thinking and not starting cannot do anything. Researchers have even discovered that not long after a person starts working out something they don't like, the neuro discomfort disappears. And this is something true as well. Something that is not actually like doing to you, but you when you start doing it, that feel of discomfort disappears from your mind and you start enjoying the task as well. Now, the fourth one is that changing the environment. So, for suppose if you cannot work at your home, maybe you can find any space that is basically the comfort zone, that is basically a room of your own, and here you are actually enjoying. So, that place can be a cafe. I have a friend of mine, and I know her example that she's basically a writer. So whenever she needs to write, she is visiting any cafe where there is light music, and she usually goes to McDonald's or KFC because she likes the meal there. So she often go there and she takes her laptop there and she writes there. So changing the environment has a great impact. The fifth one is mitigate the distractions. Our life is already very much burdened with the phone that we have, with the laptop that we have. So when you are studying, when you are doing any such task that you need to do and you know that you will start feeling procrastinating, switch off the phone. You can keep your phone on the do not disturb mode and then go towards the studying, because the notifications from your Facebook, from your Messenger, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp will of course not make you study. This is going to surely distract you. The sixth one is that the acknowledgement of your frustration. So, first of all, you need to acknowledge this thing that, okay, you are frustrating. And in order to deal with it, you can do something that can actually really make you happy. And when you are actually feeling happy, then go towards working. Among the last three, let's have a look to the third last, that is keep on working. So, research actually shows that the better we get at something, the more enjoyable it can become. So, how it can be, when you are starting something, when you have started something and you are doing it, that do not stop. Try to keep on working on that, because once you have stopped and you feel like that you don't need to do this task, you may leave that task, or you may not do it again. So make sure you are doing it. Then go towards the solicit advice from the peers. And from peer, I actually mean that it can he or she can be your classmate, a friend, your sibling, elder, younger, your mother, your father, your teacher. They can really help you out in overcoming this feel. Then the most important, the last but of course the least, the most important is time management strategies. There are a lot of time management strategies, and setting up a timer for 15 minutes, and after 15 minutes you can reward yourself first. You can have a chocolate, you can have a break, you can have a walk, you can roam around the room, and you can feel like physically active. Once you are active, then go towards doing that task again. So this was all from my side, and we will be heading towards our conclusion now, as we had a very detailed overview of how procrastination manifests itself in online learning. It is something that is obvious not only in online but as well as physical learning. And we have a detailed discussion on the tips, on the techniques, on the strategies that can be really used in order to overcome it. So, if you have any additional tips or techniques you would like to share, you can drop them in the chat box. I will be sharing the link of the quiz as well as the link of the feedback form. So, you people are cordially invited for the feedback and the quiz. Make sure that the quiz that I'm sharing with you all need to be filled, and if you get passing marks in that, you will be getting a certificate of this session. I am dropping the links in the chat box, and this was all from my side. I hope you people have enjoyed. And if there is any further suggestion, discussion, or anything, you can surely reach me out at counselor@valeem.com.